For decades, the path into Zimbabwe's elite medical and engineering programs followed a predictable academic route. But a sudden shift in admission rules at the University of Zimbabwe has left thousands of top-tier applicants scrambling to adapt. The entry requirements for specialized fields like radiography are steep. Applicants must already hold 3 A-level passes in pure science subjects to even be considered for the program. Historically, achieving 15 points, the highest possible score on the ZimSec national exams, guaranteed a placement. Today, that perfect academic record only grants you an invitation to a much more difficult selection process, a brutal psychometric test and an oral interview. The abstract reasoning section of this test is a high-speed gauntlet. Candidates are tasked with answering 55 complex pattern recognition questions in a window of just 14 minutes. Breaking down the math reveals the intensity. Applicants have roughly 15 seconds to identify a rule, verify it, and select the correct answer before the clock forces them forward. This isn't a test of rote memorization. It is a cognitive filter engineered to simulate the high-stakes, split-second decision-making required in a modern clinical environment. Abstract reasoning measures a specific skill, the ability to identify hidden rules and logical patterns within a chaotic visual field. A typical problem requires tracking a shape moving counterclockwise, noticing its color alternates every 2 steps. The difficulty is heightened by distracting information, extra lines or static shapes with no logical function, designed as bait to force an incorrect conclusion. This mental exercise is a direct proxy for a critical medical task. Reviewing a complex MRI scan isn't like reading a clear map. A radiographer is looking at a dense field of tissue, bone, and shadows. The university uses these tests because they mirror a diagnostician's ultimate responsibility, separating a vital, life-saving signal from a sea of distracting biological noise. The second pillar of the assessment is spatial reasoning, the ability to mentally manipulate 2- and 3-dimensional objects in your mind's eye. This skill is a safety requirement. Operating heavy imaging equipment around an injured patient requires constant awareness of how mechanical arms move through 3D space. Beyond machinery, a radiographer must look at a flat 2D monitor and mentally reconstruct the 3D volume of a patient's internal anatomy. The final phase is a test of the candidate's foundational knowledge. During the oral interview, applicants face a rapid-fire science check. These aren't deep theoretical debates. Interviewers seek the immediate recall of the ZimSec science curriculum, surface-level facts that must be second nature to a medical student. Applicants are routinely asked to instantly identify DC circuit diagrams or walk the interviewer through the specific stages of meiosis. Spatial reasoning proves you can handle the physical tools of the trade, while the science baseline ensures your core medical knowledge remains accessible even when you are under immense professional scrutiny. The psychological goal of this entire process is to measure cognitive flexibility, how quickly an applicant can generate new hypotheses and query their own judgments as new data arrives. The 14-minute time limit is a deliberate design choice. It is intended to be nearly impossible to complete, ensuring every candidate eventually reaches their limit. This chart shows the ideal performance. As time decreases and frustration levels rise on the x-axis, a successful candidate's accuracy on the y-axis remains stable. The university is testing for the point where your logic breaks under stress. To pass, applicants must move beyond passive study. Success requires drilling abstract and spatial reasoning workbooks until the ability to recognize patterns moves from a conscious effort to pure muscle memory. The science baseline requires a similar approach. Reviewing A-level biology and physics ensures that the answers are ready for immediate recall, preventing a mental block during the verbal interview. Practicing under strict timed conditions is the only way to build the necessary confidence. It trains the brain to stay focused on the sequence rather than the ticking clock. By surviving this gauntlet, an applicant proves they have more than just a high GPA. They demonstrate the mental endurance required to perform the precision work of a diagnostician in a high-pressure trauma environment.